Well, there's been a lot of failures we've heard about recently in the headlines with church pastors, church leaders. It really doesn't matter what church you go to, what denomination it is. It seems like there's somebody that's failing. If you're struggling with that and you're wanting more understanding about what's going on, you might want to take a listen to this. We're going to talk about it. We're going to deep dive into it.
That's great.
It's going to be fun. You know, Bubba, we've had a lot of headlines lately, and it seems to be a trending topic about mega church pastors and their failures. Uh, Honestly, it's breaking my heart. I've grown to love many of the ones that have, recent scandals been the headlines, just racing through the news. Unbelievable, things are happening. And I can't help but think of what it's doing to the church congregations, the people that are, faithfully giving, faithfully attending, following the words of these people, only to find out that they have their own shortcomings. And some of them are, quite frankly, better or bigger, not better, but bigger than anything that maybe the normal church person might go or cross the boundaries to do. A lot of them are, any of the ones that are going to make the headlines are always sexual. There's some sort of a big sexual scandal.
Yeah, it's really breaks our heart because we know because spiritual growth comes in stages, and that people are either at an infancy stage where they're just learning, they're a little ignorant about certain things, and very important to have people in their life, a community or people in their life to really be patient and help them grow. And then you got the child stage where everything is from the lens of self, and then you got others focus who are really moving out. All of these people on their journey of faith are shocked because all of these pastors have played some role in information or inspiration, either for them or their church or their pastor. And to see someone like that get caught up in whatever's going on with their wrongdoing or whatever's been caught or found out, it brings such a, well, if he can't serve the Lord, if he can't, who has written books and has such incredible charisma, and they're so bigger than life, and I find tremendous value listening to them, on social media, and then to see them fall, it's like, why? How do I stand a chance? Is this is this all about? Gain? Is this all about setting myself up for failure as 5 steps closer to the Lord, but 3 steps back? What does this look like for me? So yeah, it's taking over social media right now.
Yeah. Well, there's this idea about, now I can't believe anything they said. And I don't believe that. I believe that these people, yes, they had some sort of a short, coming or whatever it was. Pick your scandal, and we'll, just use that. But it doesn't mean what they say isn't true. There's a lot of times they're reading right out of the Bible, and they're teaching on scriptures where they've gotten some divine revelation. The thing about it is, I don't know where they're at. I don't know where their heart is. It's just like going to a funeral. If I didn't know the person that's being, buried, that we're coming there to celebrate their life, I can't really tell you, did they make it to heaven? Did they not? I don't know. Where was their heart? I don't know. God knows. And, one of the things that we saw Jesus do was forgive a criminal right on the cross. I guess he did. He said, "You'll be in paradise with me." But that thief believed. And what did Jesus do with Peter, when he denied him? So, one of the things that's happening is we're taking a specific point in time where they had a fallout, and we're holding them accountable to that one time and say, okay, this is who that person is. But yet then we want to believe for our own self that our past is forgiven and that we could be reconciled. They were put in a position, or achieved a position at least, of the spotlight. And
well, there's an
it's a tough
expectation.
situation.
There was an expectation that they're held. The Bible's very clear about those who teach. There's a greater accountability. David was a man after God's own heart, and yet he committed murder.
Come on now.
He infidelity, a lot of manipulation, a lot of things that David did.
Oh, he'd have never made it in this day and age.
No, he never made it. But I know this. It's a great opportunity to ask the Holy Spirit, just give me a perspective. Let me walk in. Now, if there's behavior and there's things that they did, they're going to have to be accountable for that, no matter what that looks like. Even if the Lord has forgiven them, if it's criminal, if it's not, they may need to step down, whatever they need to do. But I know that the enemy is out there to expose, and the enemy is out there to destroy and to discredit. That's a given, and he will take advantage of every opportunity given to do that. But we've got to stay focused. We can't say, Lord, I'm not going to punish you for someone else's wrongdoing.
Yeah.
I've heard people say, well, that's why I don't go to church, because everybody's a bunch of hypocrites. It's bigger than that. I don't go to church because I'm looking for perfect people. I'm not going to church even though I know there are hypocrites there. I'm going to church because my relationship with the Lord during the week compels me, as he gives me opportunity to connect and love people. So if we have wrong mindsets to begin with, anything that happens after that just gets more construed. So
Yeah. I mean, that's the key, is you got to have a healthy perspective of what your role is. What is your role in this world anyway? And why do we put pastors on such a pedestal? I mean, if I was given a gift to play an instrument, and it wouldn't mean I was moral, but I'm really good. Was it true when I played? I mean, was I, really playing that instrument? Yeah, it was a gift. I was very good at it. There's a lot of teachers that are very good at it. And, we should be able to say, my relationship with God is so solid, I'm not going to church to get a relationship with God. I think therein lies the fallacy of it all. Mm-hmm. That is not where I'm going to get the relationship. If I have to go there to get the relationship, then I'm going to have a shallow relationship, because I'm only there for a little bit per week. I mean, a very small amount of time. Yes. It'd be like dating a girl once a week and just really thinking, man, I wonder if we're going to get married or not. I mean, you need to probably be spending more time with her. And everybody can recognize that and understand that.
Sure.
So the church, we've kind of given the church the wrong role in our life if we've done that. It's more about, we're going there, like you said. That's a great point you made. We're going there to be a light. We're going there to find fellowship. And personally, the way I look at it is, man, we're going there. We've got this open box there where people are coming in there to find Jesus. Like, they really want to maybe change their life, but they quite don't know how yet.
Sure.
And so they're coming in there with the approach of, okay, I've been told this is where God is, so that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go there to find God. Well, the problem is, we get in there, or they get in there, or whoever gets in there, and they find a bunch of people that haven't found God yet, this intimate relationship we're talking about. So they kind of rub, each other wrong, because maybe they haven't quite learned to love unconditionally. So how many people are in your church that do that love unconditionally, that spread grace and mercy? I bet the numbers are a lot lower than the majority. I bet the majority are coming in there like the latter or the earlier version of people coming in there looking for God that are infants. So the whole perspective we ought to have is we're going into church. If we've got any kind of maturity or longevity that we've been going to church, we ought to be looking at it like, hey, this is a place to where we can help people grow by our the way we operate, the way we're kind, the way we're gentle. I mean, it's really all about dying. Everything about being a Christian is about dying to self. We're
Yes.
supposed to die to ourselves, die to our own self ambition. According to James 5:16, it's where there's selfish ambition, there's every evil thing lives there.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty deep. That's a lot of evil things living there.
Yeah.
But if we're preferring others, if we're considering others greater than ourselves, considering others' needs greater than our own, well, that puts a different spin on it. So now we're not looking at the pastor as this great almighty God. We're looking at him as an equal. We're both seeking after God.
He's on the same journey we are.
Yeah.
He's got a different role. He's got responsibilities. I have a role. I have responsibilities. I'm showing up at church looking for opportunities to encourage and inspire and challenge those that I am in community with at church. I'm not simply going to observe who's there, who's not. I'm not looking around with the pompous and saying, look at what they're wearing. How dare them be here? They don't fit. They're not, you know what I mean? They don't fit. There's cliques. The goal is to look at everything and saying, we're all on this journey to grow. We're not on this journey to highlight just our gifts, talents, and abilities, or for affirmation, or for someone to say, oh, you did so good working the door or greeting people today, or you did so good working in the nursery. It's very important. It's hard to do church. It's hard to get a bunch of people together that are on the same page. It's easy to worship corporately. It's easy to listen to a message corporately, but it's very difficult to do relationships personally at church, and to meet people to do life outside church.
Yeah.
That's where strength comes. That's where relationships come. But yeah, it's been a huge thing right now for us to see, and we are seeing a lot of people struggling right now. They're like, man, I can't believe this has happened, and that is why, and they just throw everything out with the bathwater.
Yeah. Well, it's cross denominational too. I mean, there's a huge Baptist church locally, probably the biggest Baptist church in Arkansas. There's a scandal going on there. You know, name a town, a city. We've known a very small church in a very small town, not too far from here, where there was a small town pastor that did the same thing as this big mega church pastor. The only thing is the smaller guy didn't get in the headlines, but it's happening everywhere.
It is.
So a lot of people's question is, well, why is this happening? Is it possible to live holy? Is it possible to walk like Jesus? And one of the things that people will ask me, because we'll be in this, the context of the asking is, we'll be in this relationship where we're meeting once a week. There's a lot of people that you and I meet with once a week. We get them on a schedule, very intentional about it. And so after a while, they start saying, okay, you guys are always talking about being in relationship with the Father and being in relationship with others. You're always talking about unconditional love. You're always talking about not being offended. You're always talking about walking in a measure of grace and mercy and love with your spouse and your children. You're always talking about laying your life down for others when they do these highly offendable things. You choose not to be offended, and you make it all about this intimacy with the Lord, and you are spending a massive amounts of time in your prayer closet seeking after the Lord's understanding. And not only that, I see you guys walking it, and it seems to be working as far as we can tell. How come they're not teaching this in the church? That's the $1 million question. So you may have that question. You may be wondering, you may be watching this podcast and wonder, I mean, are these guys just another couple of guys that are saying this stuff? And there's no way that anybody can walk it because I'm watching this pastor fall, I'm watching this pastor fall. And at the end of the day, it comes down to this one simple thing, and you got to believe it, or you don't have to. But it is the source. It is the antidote. It's the intimacy that we have with the Father. And it's just like anything else. If you haven't tasted it, if you haven't experienced it, then you're not going to be able to teach it. I can't teach something that I do not know. I can't teach you a lifestyle that I've never lived. It only comes by experience. It only comes by living it out and being guided by the Holy Spirit.
If you read any of Psalms and you see the journey that David was on as a king, and he's talking about how he was covering that sin, and what you cover, God will uncover, but what you uncover, God will cover. I've heard that before. And David was talking about his journey. Everything kept taking him back to, yes, I've failed, but I need you, Father. That's why he said, your word have I hidden in my heart that I won't sin against you. He was constantly, he always knew what he was doing and where the Lord stood, and he was constantly thanking the Lord for his patience, his kindness, his goodness. David is a model of someone who has failed miserably, and yet he kept running to the Father. And that's where we all got to be. If we all make mistakes, if we're all struggling, the greatest thing you could do is not what you're going through, it's how you respond to that. And who do you run to when life gets tough and things go crazy? And that's what we hope and pray these pastors can model. Everybody can be restored. They may not be reinstated where they once were, but they can always be restored. And things can be made right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, what is intimacy? Is it the ability to be at one with somebody that you can say anything to, and they're not going to judge you? I mean, being with the Father, what you were describing with David was he was doing things with the Father. He was admitting to things where he was dead wrong. But by the end of that psalm or whatever, he was just going and excited about, but you, Lord, you are my shepherd. You are my strength. You are almighty. You'll have smoke coming out your nostrils coming to my rescue. But in the beginning, it was like, Lord, I really screwed up. I did this, I did that. Everybody's turned against me. Even my friends have turned against me and everything like that. That was intimacy.
Yes.
And it's also a testament of how he could do what he did with Bathsheba, and he lost his son over that. The son they had together because it was born out of adultery. And yet he was like, okay, Lord, I still love you. That was a tremendous story about a man that was okay with the consequences and still being able to go into the presence of the Lord and say, you know what? I know you love me. I know you, and I trust you. And
you'll see me through.
Yeah, you're going to see me through. So we still have a relationship and not being ashamed of it. Maybe regretting it and repenting, but saying, you know what, this doesn't affect our relationship because your love for me is unconditional.
Well, that's our hope for everyone that's going through these challenges right now, these pastors, that they will model what it looks like to run to the Father.
That's right. And that's what everyone listening to this needs to be. They need to have this intimate relationship with the Father. That's knowing His unconditional love for you is true.
That's good.
We hope this episode of the Called to Love podcast has enriched your life and offered valuable principles to apply on your personal journey. Please explore our website at www.calledto.love for more information and to share your feedback with us. Until our next episode, may you find peace and love. And always remember, you are called to love.